What's up, everybody? We're back here at the Bellagio again, playing some 5-10, sometimes with the $20 straddle on, doing a WSOP. One of the first hands of the night, I wake up with Jack 10 offsuit in cutoff position. Yes, I woke up with Jack 10 offsuit. Not the greatest hand, but it does fold around to me, and I am going to be opening to $30. And it does fold all around a big one, and he's going to be putting in a call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop of Jack 2 rainbow. Oh my goodness, we just double jacked them. Let's get it. We have trips. Kicker's a little bit weak, but that's fine. I mean, in these positions, even if my opponent does have a jack, we are going to have them out kick most times. And not being a pre-flop aggressor, my opponent does start out with a check. And I decided to just put out a small wager here in the single raise spot. Just going to be betting $20. And I see my opponent and he starts to grab more chips than just the $20. And looks like he's going to be putting in that check raise all the way up to $70. I mean, love to see it. Like I said, I do have trips. Not really worried about much here. And it's a dry board texture. So this time around, not going to be putting in that 3-bet on the flop. Just going to be putting in a call. So I end up flicking it in. So we're going to go to a turn and it comes the 7 of diamonds. Would have been nice to just turn a 10, but that's perfectly fine. Have to be worried about the backdoor flush draw that is coming in now. And my opponent is continuing their story that they do have a strong hand. So they're actually grabbing more chips and they put out a bet of $110. And once again, backdoor flush draw is there, but I'm not really too worried here yet, especially being in position. Just want to let my opponent keep barreling into me if he just somehow has nothing, which is what I'm hoping for. But yeah, so with that being said, I do put in a call. And we go to the river and it comes the 9 of hearts. Pretty decent river here. Once again, not worried about much. But then my opponent starts to do something that I do start to worry about. They're grabbing chips and it's not a small amount. They're actually loading up an overbet. You've got to be kidding me. They put out a massive overbet of $550 and I go into the tank. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. What is this overbet? And I can just look at this person and based on their tendencies so far for the day, they are a reg. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm at the Bellagio and I'm facing a check raise triple barrel overbet river. And I'm like, oh man, this is really a rough spot. I'm actually tanking here with trips. I know, right? Pretty insane, but is it really that insane? Is it? Think about that. Let me know if you feel like it's insane in the comments below, please. But yeah, I am tanking here and I'm like, well, I mean, I have trips, not the most fun spot. So I do end up side calling. I flick in the chips and to my not so surprise, my opponent turns over pocket deuces. They flop the boat with the rubber duckies. You've got to be kidding me. So I wasn't drawing dead, but I pretty much would have had a river a 7 or I would have had a river a 10 in order to have a bigger boat than them. And that would have been really nice because then I would have been able to raise that overbet in position, having pretty much almost the stone cold nuts. But yeah, just going to have to take an L on this first pot. Kind of a little bit of cooler, but I mean, it's cash games. You can't win them all. And next hand for the night, I'm going to wake up with 10-8 suited in the under the gun position. And I am going to be opening to $30. My opponent in low jack is actually going to be putting in that 3-bet to $60. It's going to fold all the way back around to me. And with such good odds, I mean, are you kidding me? They pretty much just min-clicked it back to a 3-bet. I mean, I would call almost anything here. So yeah, I'm flicking it in. I put in a call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop of ace 3-8. 2 diamonds. At least there is a 3 of clubs on the flop. I do have middle pair here. My opponent is going to have a lot of ace-x, but hey, at least I do have middle pair on the board and I can go backdoor to a flush, turn a 10, turn an 8. It's a lot of possibilities here, ladies and gentlemen. And when my opponent put it in the 3-bet, I'm going to be putting in the check this time. And of course, on this board, they're going to be c-betting a lot. It's expected, no problem. They do put a c-bet in and they make it $70 to go. And I'm not going to be going anywhere yet. Going to be flicking in the call. So we're going to go to a turn and it comes a nice, sexy 6 of clubs. There goes that backdoor flush draw I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Looking pretty good here. At least I have more equity going into the river. Definitely going to be calling dependent on my opponent's bet size here. So I do put in a check, and my opponent does put out a bet here of $200. And it is pretty much roughly 60 to 65% of the pot. Pretty much have a lot of odds, even if they bet a little bit bigger. Definitely would still be putting in a call here. So yeah, I do flick it in, and we're going to go to the river, and it comes a sad 5 of spades. That is not the river I wanted. Would have loved to just river an 8, a 10, or hit that sexy club, but unfortunately I don't. So I end up putting it in the check, and my opponent grabs their chips, and they put out a bet of $200. A really small wager here, is not even that big in relative to what's in the pot. But my hand is a little bit too weak here. Second best pair, no kicker. So yeah, I'm just going to be laying it down, and we're going to have to move on to the next hand. 2L so far for the night. And for this hand, finally, we're waking up with a real hand in the big blind, a beautiful big blind special, ace king offsuit, the best drawing hand, as people like to call it, in poker. And you're going to love this. We have some blind versus blind action. I always love blind versus blind action. Ranges are wide, pots sometimes get big, and they always are crazy. So it does fold all the way around to small blind, and they put out the open to $30. And I'm going to be putting in a 3-bet, of course, with such a strong hand in big blind. I make it $90 to go. And my opponent, he's going to be putting in a call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop of 2-7-6, 2 hearts. Decent flop here. Do have the king of hearts in my hand, but would have loved to flop an ace or a king. But at least we do have 2 overs and at backdoor flush draw to a 4-card flush. And my opponent does put in a check. And this time around, I decide to size up a little bit. I load up a decent amount of chips. I make it $120 to go. And my opponent, after a couple of seconds, they do flick in the call. So we're going to go to a turn, and it comes the 8 of hearts. Pretty good turn in terms of that. Now, if a heart comes on the river, I will have that 4-card flush. But now straights just got there, such as 5-4, 9-10. Not really going to have 9-5, not worried about that variety, but yeah, that bottom end of the straight and top end of the straight. And my opponent could have a flush. It's possible. I know it's harder for them when I have the king of hearts in my hand, but they can still have a flush. It's possible. That is definitely in their range. And my opponent does put in a check. And with that being said, and all of these factors in this situation, I'm going to be putting in a check. And I'm hoping to see a really good river. And we go to it, and it comes a sad 8 of spades. Not what the doctor ordered. I did not want to see that at all. My opponent puts in another check, and yeah, at this point, I could bluff ace high, but I'm like, don't really see the merit of doing it on this board. So I just pray and hope that my check back is good. I check it back, and my opponent chose 6-5 offsuit. 6-5 offsuit. How the hell did it get in his pot with 6-5 offsuit? You've just got to be kidding me. But hey, I mean, I love the fact that they called that. I'm going to be ahead of that range a lot, so I can't really complain. This time around they won, but maybe I could get back at them later on in this session. 3 for 3 with L so far. Let's hope we can win this one. So for this hand, I wake up with ace-7 suited in the small blind. Under the gun is going to be opening to $30, and it does fold all the way around to me in small blind. And I decide this time around, you know what? I'm going to put in a flat. Let me see a flop against my opponent. So I do put in a call, and big blind does fold. So we're actually going to be going heads up to a flop of ace-7-5 rainbow. What a beautiful fucking flop. We just flop top 2 pair. I am not complaining here. We are looking pretty good. And there's even a heart on the board, so we can even go runner, nut flush here. But it's not going to be too often that we actually need to do all of that. We're flopping so well, right? And not being a pre-flop aggressor here and being out of position, I'm going to be putting in the check. My opponent puts out a bet of $30, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Of course, y'all know what time it is. It's time to put in that sexy check Rizzo. We're definitely going to be bumping up the pot here, and I bump it all the way up to $80. My opponent does put in a call. We go to a turn, and it comes the 4 of diamonds. Really good turn here. My opponent is not going to have much 8-6. I'm not really too worried about that. But even better, the board is a rainbow board. It is not too often in poker that turn card comes, and it's just a rainbow board at that point. That means there are no flush possibilities at all. So my top 2 pair cannot be ruined by that. And I start to think about my size here on the turn. I'm like, what do I want to bet? What do I want to bet? And y'all know me, I love betting big. And when I love betting big, we're going to be putting out an over bet. We're going for it. I'm grabbing my chips. I'm loading up a bet of $280. And my opponent does tank for a little bit, maybe 20 to 30 seconds. But yeah, they're going to be putting in a call. This is exactly what I wanted. I love it. So we're going to be going to the river, and it comes a queen of spades. And now that's a little bit of a scary river. Obviously, now I am losing to ace queen, but come on. How often is my opponent going to have ace queen here? So with that being said, I do actually tank for a little bit and think about my size in here on the river. I'm definitely going to be putting in a bet. There's no way I'm going to be checking here. And there is roughly $800 in the pot. I only have $1,100 behind. So y'all can already see where this is about to go. We're going to be putting in an over bet. It's going to be an ultra-bama moment. We're going to be all in on the river for $1,100. And my opponent does go into the tank for a bit. 20 or 30 seconds once again. But unfortunately, my opponent does lay it down. So they must have had a pretty decent hand there. We almost got them to call. That would have made all of the money back I've been losing in the previous hands and then some. But at least we finally killed that losing momentum, and now we can start winning hands. And this hand's about to get crazy. We have ace queen suited of diamonds. Diamonds are forever, and we got a lady in our hand. We love to see it. And this time the strat is going to be on. Very beautiful. And I'm going to be in under the gun. I'm going to open up to $50, and person directly to my left is going to be putting in the call. And it folds all the way around the small blind. They're going to be putting in the call, and the straddle is going to be putting in the call. Good God, we have a half family pot because that's 4 out of the 8 people at the table. So yeah, let's get it. We're going to be going to a flop 4 ways, and it's going to come 8, 9, 4, 2 diamonds. Beautiful fucking flop, ladies and gentlemen. We are drawing to the nut flush, and we have 2 overs to back ourselves up with. Small blind is going to be put in the check. Straddle is going to be put in the check. And this time around, being in this crazy multi-family way pot, I decided to not c-bet. I'm going to be putting in the check as well. And my opponent directly to my left, he has other plans. He's not going to be checking back here. He puts out a bet of $100, which is roughly 50% of the pot. Small blind folds, and the straddle folds. And after I see that happen, I'm like, do I want to play a call line or a check rizzle line? Call, check rizzle, call, check rizzle. And yes, of course, it's going to be option 2. We're going for the check rizzle. We're bumping up the pot all the way up to $270. And with them betting into this many people and being in position, I am expecting them to call. But surprisingly, instead of them just grabbing $270, they're grabbing more chips. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they actually put out a bet of $700. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I have the nut flush draw. Not going to be going anywhere yet. Thing is, do I want to put in a call or do I want to go all in? If I do call, I'm not going to have that much behind because I started the hand with $1,570. So with that being said, because of those reasons, y'all know what time it is. It's going to be an on-demand moment. I'm going to be going all in on this flop. And my opponent could not call quick enough. Asked them how many times if they want to run it. Asked them if they want to do 2 times. They said, yeah, 2 times is fine. And let's go straight to the run out. So do you want to flip? Oh, I flip.
I got flash.
Oh.
Yeah, wait the first one. Wow. Not moving.
Okay, we do. Okay.
Nice job, it.
Good luck, Sligh.
And the first run out is actually going to come the queen of clubs and the king of clubs. So they hit the king on the river. And the second run out comes an ace of hearts and 4 of diamonds. You have got to be kidding me. I pretty much had my opponent massively dominated here, having the ace high flush draw to the king high flush draw. And they get lucky on that first run out to hit the king. Pretty crazy because after I hit the queen on the turn, they pretty much are only drawing live to 3 outs. Just such a rough spot to be in. Would have loved to just take this pot down, but hey, sometimes running at the WSOP just doesn't go your way, and this just happens to be one of those sessions again. Hopefully, if we do get it in again during this session, we won't chop the pot. We'll just take everything down. And next hand, oh baby, the straddle is going to be on by yours truly. And we're going to have 7-5 offsuit. My third favorite hand, but usually when it's suited, but it's still my third favorite hand. I love 7-5. And it's going to fold all the way around to cut off. They're going to be open until $50. Going to fold all the way around to me, and I'm going to be putting in a call. So we're actually going to be going heads up to a flop of King Jack 7, 2 hearts. Not the greatest flop, obviously, for 7-5 offsuit. I literally just have bottom pair. That's it. Nothing else going on here. Nothing else to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to be putting in a check. My opponent puts out a bet of $35 and not going anywhere yet with third pair. Going to be putting in a call. We're going to go to a turn and it comes the Queen of Clubs. That's my lady, but I don't have her in my hand this time. So yeah, going to be putting in a check, and my opponent actually does check back. Love to see it. That's pretty good. Hopefully we can maybe find a good river, and we go to it and it comes the 9 of spades. That doesn't really help me much. I didn't hit a 7. I didn't hit a 5. But there is a 4 card straight on the board now, and my opponent did check back on the turn. So yeah, I'm thinking about, hey, do I really want to attack them on this board? Do they have a 10? Do I have a 10? Definitely don't have a 10 right now. But we're going to make it look like we have a 10. And I'm grabbing my chips, and I'm going to be putting out the overbet of $270. And my opponent is just in disbelief, and he goes into the tank. He is not believing my bet here at all. They're tanking for about a minute or so, and they finally say, nice bluff, and they lay down their cards. And I just muck. I don't even show it because I am not showing my cards anymore. We know what happened to me last time when I showed my cards after a bluff. Everybody just started stationing me, so we're not doing it anymore. I'm protecting my cards. We're mucking. If you want to see my cards, you got to put the chips in the middle, baby. And did you like that overbet on the river? Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you liked the video so far, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. And next hand, we're going to wake up with the Rockets, the best starting hand mathematically in poker, because you know we love the ladies, of course, right? But yeah, we got pocket aces. I'm going to be in middle position. I'm going to open to $30. Another opponent of mine in middle position puts in the flat, and it does fold all the way around to button, and they're going to be putting in the call as well, and everybody else is going to fold. So we're actually going to be going to a flop 3 ways, and it's going to come King 6-5, 2 hearts. Looking pretty good here. I do have red aces, so I do have the ace of hearts in my hand. 4 card flush, as I always like to talk about, is a possibility here, ladies and gentlemen. And this time around, being multi-way, I do elect to still put out a C bet. I make it $30 to go. And my opponent in middle position puts in a call, and button actually puts in a call as well. Oh my goodness, this is not what I expected. Would have loved to just thin out the fill. But hey, here we are going to the turn 3 ways, and it's going to come the 2 of spades. Pretty crazy turn here. Obviously, somebody could have 4-3, but how often does somebody just flat and have 4-3? Like, come on now. So I decide to actually still put the pressure here on my 2 opponents. I'm going to be putting out a bet of $150. And after I did do this, my opponent to my left actually grabs $150 and more chips, and they're loading up the raise in position. I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe I should have just checked the turn. I don't know, but I did still like my bet at the time until this happens, and they make it $410 to go. Button's going to be folding, and I'm like, well, I have pocket aces here. I can't go anywhere yet. I can still be ahead in this hand. So yeah, we're going to be putting in a call. And we go to the river, and it comes the 8 of hearts. So now the flush just got there as well on the river. I check, and then my opponent loads up this little, I mean, not the smallest wager. It is more than 50% of the pot. They make it $400, basically the same size that they did. They raise in position on the turn. And I actually go into the tank. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the second, third, maybe 4th time this exact spot has happened to me in the WSOP. And every time I call, I lose. Like, I bet the flop, they raise the turn in position, and then I call. And then we go to the river. I check and they bet, and then I call with aces, and I have lost this spot every single time. And that's going through my mind as I'm tanking. I'm like, okay, what do I beat here? And am I ever really going to win? But unfortunately, I just couldn't help myself, you know, just couldn't help myself. I end up tanking, like I said. 2 minutes go by, I still flick in a call, and well, behold, my opponent chose the beautiful 4-3 suited. They turned it straight, that's why they raised in position, and I fell for it because I'm an idiot, and I don't know how to fold pocket aces in these spots in live poker. Just don't know why, I don't know how to do it, but hey, lesson learned here. To my future self, when you're watching this video back, and also when you have pocket aces in this position, for the love of God, press the motherfucking fold button. You're never good here in live poker. Just fucking fold and you're just going to be a happier person. From Brandon to Brandon. And next time we're going to have the best drawing hand in poker. Again, ace king offsuit in under the gun position. I'm going to be opening to $30. It's going to fold all the way around to the button, and they're actually going to be putting in a 3-bet, a massive 3-bet in position, mind you that, to $120. Does fold back around to me, and I'm like, not going to be putting in a flat this time. Definitely going to be going for it here. I'm putting in that 4-bet. I make it $290 to go. And my opponent thinks about it for a little bit, and he's going to be putting in a call. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 2 Jack-Jack. 2 hearts. Not the best flop when I have ace of spades, king of clubs in my hand. There's no heart in my hand. Not looking pretty good here. But I am still going to be putting out that C-bet against my opponent. I start to grab some chips. I make it $120 to go. And my opponent decides they're not going anywhere yet. They're going to be putting in the call. We go to the turn and it comes a 10 of clubs. Once again, not a good card again. But at least I am drawing to the nuts straight if my lady can come on the river. And I'm still going to be putting out another bet here. I'm not taking my foot off the gas yet. I grab more chips again. I make it $170 to go. And my opponent does put in the call again. And we go to the river and it comes the 10 of diamonds. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That's possibly like the worst river. Because now we have 2 jacks on the flop. And then the board runs out 10-10. My opponent could have a boat, but it is not that likely. But once again, it's still possible. So yeah, really rough spot here. So I do think about what I want to do here, and I end up putting in a check. And to my, of course, not too much of a surprise, my opponent goes all in for $550. And I actually go into the tank because in game, I was thinking, how many boats does my opponent have here? And I thought about it for maybe a minute or so, and I'm like, damn, I can just call ace high and be good here sometimes. But hey, the river came, they went all in. And I'm not gonna lie, some of these runs here at WSOP did have an effect on my decision here. And even though I thought about it and actually wanted to call, I was like, you know what? They just keep having it. They just keep fucking having it. So I actually do lay down my cards. And my opponent did turn over his cards and shows King 9 of diamonds. King 9 of diamonds. So yeah, they flatted the 4-bet with King 9 of diamonds. They floated the flop with no diamonds with King 9 of diamonds. So I guess they were just preparing to bluff this the entire time. Pretty insane bluff. I mean, kudos to them. Well played, well played. They did what my ass that hand. I have no complaints. I should have found a call. One lesson in poker is you always have to remember every hand is independent. Whenever you are playing said hand, you should never ever make your decision based on previous circumstances. Unless, of course, you've played that table before. So yeah, in this spot, really wish I found a call. And I did do some research on this spot. And actually, Ace King does call here like a lot. When I mean a lot, like 80 to 90% of the time. So really disappointed I didn't find it. But hey, let's hope we can recover from it. And we're going to have the JJ's pocket jacks in a later position. It's going to fold around to my opponent and hijack. They're going to be opening to $30. I'm going to put in a 3-bet directly to their left. I make it $100 to go. And it does fold all the way back around to my opponent. And they're going to be putting in the call. Let's hope we can jack them. We're going to be going heads up to a flop of 10-6-9, 2 clubs. Do have the jack of clubs in my hand. Beautiful flop for pocket jacks. Obviously, 7-8 suited is a straight, but we're looking pretty good here, having that over pair to any pair that's on the board right now. My opponent puts in a check. This time around, I decide to put out a decent bet. I make it $150 to go, and my opponent does put in a call. We go to a turn and it comes the queen of clubs. My lady looking pretty good here. We now have 3 clubs on the board. If another club comes on the river, that means we're going to have the third nuts, and we're open-ended to what would be pretty much almost the nut straight, unless my opponent has some random cards in his hand that makes a straight. Not too often that's going to happen, especially when the king comes. He's going to have ace jack. And also, they could already have a straight if they have king jack, but for the love of God, I have 2 of them on my hand. How often is that going to happen? Come on now. So yeah, my opponent does put in a check, and I'm not going to slow down here. I just have so much equity. I know I could be losing to a queen now, but even if they do have a queen in their hand, I want to put pressure on them. We're open-ended, and we have a flush draw. I load up the bet with the JJs, and I make it $370 to go. My opponent tells me they can't continue. They lay it down, and we take down a pretty decent-sized 3-bet pot. And for this hand, we're going to wake up with ace-queen offsuit in the small blind. And it's going to fold all the way around to my opponent in hijack. They're going to be opening to $30. Cutoff's going to be put in a call. Button's going to be put in a call. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Don't want to have a family pot here with ace-queen. Y'all know what we're going to be doing. We're going to be putting in that sexy 3-bet squeeze. Bumping the pot all the way up to $160. Big blind's going to be folding, and then hijack actually thinks about it for a little bit, and then he announces he's going to be all in. This is the same person that I played against who had the king 9 suited that hand. They do go all in for $640. Cutoff and button both fold, and I'm like, I mean, this is like 64 big blinds, but I 3-bet squeeze to 160. After that bluff, I know my opponent may be capable of having worse. So with having that read and history with him and other hands at the table, we're going to go for it. We're going to flick in the call with ace-queen offsuit for 64 bigs. Ask how many times they want to run it. They say 2 times is fine. And I'm like, all right, let's get it. We're going to be running it 2 times. And they actually turn over king-queen offsuit after we agree to run it 2 times. I'm like, okay, that's great. I just have to dodge a king again, and I'll be fine, and I can take down this pot. So let's go straight to the run out.
Just win, you know. I'd like to, you know. Okay, that's
Pretty good.
it's pretty good so far, you know. Just okay, dead. Don't waste my outs. There we go. One more time.
No, kill queen. That's a pretty good board for you.
It's okay. We can't lose.
And the first run out did go my way beautifully. Hitting an ace on a turn. They were dead before they were even going in the river. It's not too often in poker that you can be in a spot where somebody is dead going to the river, but it did happen here. But unfortunately on the second board, I turned the ace and then they rivered the jack for the nut straight. Are you kidding me? I was so close for winning an all in. But once again, while being ahead in an all-in at the Bellagio doing the WSOP, we're just going to have to chop it up. And it kind of sucks to be ahead and lose, but that's just variance. What can you do? And the difference between winning those 2 spots is having a great day or, sadly, having a losing one. And final results for the session. Those all-ins didn't go my way, and I'm an idiot for calling aces there. So because of that, we're going to have a losing session of $2,175. Here's a session where everything went my way, from stacking people to getting bluffs through to running just pure as fuck. It was one of my best sessions at the Bellagio to date.